Open a Supplementary Retirement Scheme or SRS account? Check. Put money into that account and enjoy some tax benefits? Check. But wait, if that is all you're doing, then you need to listen in. So for many of us, opening an SRS account and contributing to it is one of those, smart financial moves, makes you feel savvy, and it's something that we're told to do to manage our taxes. But I have some shocking news, some shocking data. According to the Ministry of Finance, nearly 1 in 5 SRS dollars are sitting in cash or is sitting in cash because it's just 1 in 5 SRS dollars. That's earning a negligible 0.05% each year. Welcome back to the Money Talks podcast. I'm Andrea Heng. Now today we are going to look at why so many of us just leave our SRS dollars idle in that account, and how to turn that tax break into a real retirement nest egg. We have with us Jeremy Foo, Singapore Country Manager at StashAway. Welcome to the podcast, Jeremy.
Hi, great to be here.
So that data that I just pointed out, nearly 1 in 5 SRS dollars sitting in cash, earning just 0.05% every year. I mean, does that shock you? Like, we're not doing anything with this money?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always our mission to try to find and inform our investors to invest that money. So, we're quite aware that 20%.
Oh, wow. Okay. So do you know a lot of people in your family, your circuit, your social circle who do this as well? Like they just park the money in an SRS account and then, okay, that's it, done.
So it used to be, and then I kind of spread the word to them not to leave it idle, because the consequences are really quite severe. Especially if you think about it, you're getting $5 for every $10,000 that you put into, while inflation, the last 20 years has been around 2%. So it's really going to eat into your retirement savings.
Okay, I need to let that number sink in. $5 for every 10,000. That is not a lot. It's really not a lot. Let's start off with, for the benefit of those who might not know anything about the SRS, right? Let's go back to square one, ground zero. Can you explain what SRS is?
Definitely. So the SRS is the Supplementary Retirement Scheme. It's open to a lot of people. So if you're a Singaporean or PR, you can put aside $15,300 each year, and that amount will not be taxed. And so you can put it in this SRS account. You can invest it, and this amount, when you withdraw it, you actually only pay 50% of the taxes for each year that you withdraw over a 10-year period.
Right.
So typically, if you're able to save up, let's say $500,000 in SRS, if you're contributing diligently and also investing it well, you typically pay extremely low taxes. The extra benefit of this is also that you are paying taxes after you retire, so you don't have to kind of add it on top of any income that you're getting, because when you retire, you're typically not making any income as well.
Okay. And 15,300 is the maximum that we can put into our SRS account every year. Am I correct?
That's right. If you're a Singaporean or PR, there's a special scheme for foreigners as well.
Oh, okay. Tell us more about that.
Definitely. So for foreigners, you can put up to $35,700.
Okay.
The reason being, this is meant as a sort of extra substitute for CPF, because foreigners don't have access to that. So it's designed to help them save up for that. There are a few kind of quirks of that scheme specific for foreigners as well. So they can actually withdraw it after 10 years if they ever want to leave the country. Certain restrictions and treatment of that money is withdrawn. But by and large, it's a pretty effective vehicle for them.
So a lot of people that I speak to who do know about the tax benefits of SRS think that tax is the only reason, the only benefit of having an SRS account. Tell me that's not true and that there are other benefits as well.
Yep. So I think the taxes will definitely be the main benefit.
It should be.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I think the big part of it is that, you are saving tax today, but you're also taking that taxable income and you're also able to invest it. So you're also getting, your investment returns, the long-term market returns on your money that would, otherwise have been given to the government.
Right.
So that's one big benefit.
Okay.
I'd say maybe there's a bit of a psychological aspect here as well.
Right.
Where, you're not, if you withdraw your funds when you reach the retirement age, you kind of if you withdraw it early, you have to pay a full amount of tax firstly,
Okay.
and the second is you have to pay a 5% penalty
Okay.
of on the money itself, which is
Right.
quite high. So by setting this aside, you're kind of telling yourself that this is actually your retirement fund. You don't kind of touch it for anything that you want today or tomorrow, but really use it for when you're ready to retire.
So would it be fair to say that I can liken SRS to my CPF account, but they're not linked? SRS works like the CPF in that it is not liquid. You can't take it out once you put it in, right?
Yeah, so it is similar to CPF with a couple of differences. Key point is if you can take it out, but there's the penalties which I mentioned.
Yeah.
So in general, it just doesn't make sense for you to take it out.
Yeah, so you can have liquidity, you just get penalized for it.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah, and quite harshly as well.
Okay, so here's the thing, not to turn the conversation into a morbid corner, but what does happen to my SRS monies when I die? I mean, should I make sure that I will it away and ensure that the SRS funds are safe in someone else's hands, or does the government take charge? I mean, what happens here?
So it's really treated as part of your estate,
Okay.
similar to all the other assets that you have.
So my HDB flat, all my other investments as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you do have a will, it'll be executed according to your will. It could be sold and transferred in terms of money, or can be directly transferred if you already invested it in certain assets, and those
Okay.
assets will be directly transferred. If you don't have a will, there's Singapore has an estate passing law as well that allocates it based on those rules.
Okay. Interesting. So I want to try and understand the psychology of the Singaporean who knows about the SRS, right? Why is it that they just stop at the tax benefits and then they don't go into the investment part of the SRS? I mean, what's behind that psychology of the people who put in money into the SRS account and then they kind of just leave it there?
So I think the big the way most people think is really that they see the immediate tax savings today,
Yeah, right.
$2,000, $3,000. That feels extremely impactful. However, investing tends to happen over a longer horizon. Through the power of compounding, you do see huge returns, but those take many years. So I think the immediate benefit of SRS is much clearer, and so some people tend to just stop once they've kind of put the money into the account. I think the second problem is maybe they're also a little bit confused because there's certain platforms which there are certain restrictions to what you can and cannot invest with SRS. There are also multiple platforms which you can deploy your SRS funds through, and some that you can't.
Right.
So that additional layer of complexity tends to confound some users as well.
Right. Good points. So 2 follow-up questions to that. The number one being, why are there restrictions to the kind of instruments I can invest in my SRS funds into? I mean, what tend to be the typical allowed investments I can make with my SRS money?
So the reason they have these restrictions is really because I think the government understands this is money for retirement. So it needs to be, very long-term focused investments.
And
nothing
so
too
don't mess
risky.
with it.
Exactly, right? You don't want to lose your entire retirement savings.
Exactly.
So that's really the rationale.
Okay.
So some of the things you can invest in, I'd say most Singapore equities and bonds.
Okay.
So everything from your T-bill, Singapore saving bonds, individual Singapore shares, Singapore STI ETFs. All of these things are very easily accessible using your SRS through multiple platforms. Some things you're not allowed to, or not, you can't invest in would be, say, individual US stocks.
Okay.
You can't do that, like cryptocurrency
Of
and
course,
stuff as
yeah.
well. Although you can, invest in broad-based US ETFs
Right.
using, some unit trust or even robo-advisors as well.
Okay. My second follow-up question about this is, how do I even get started setting up an SRS account, right? So do I go to a bank? Do I go to an online platform? I mean, what's out there?
So the way I did it was I used you have to go through one of the big banks, so
Okay.
DBS, UOB, or OCBC.
Right.
I think those are the only three that are kind of allowed to set up an SRS account. But once you have that account, you deposit your funds there.
Okay.
Then there are multiple platforms that you can decide to invest through.
Right.
Yeah.
And these have to be, obviously, look out for the MAS approved ones that
Yes.
are authorized to do so. So step 1, save that money, put it aside. Step 2, open an SRS account with any of the 3 big banks in Singapore. And step 3, look for the platform that you want to invest your funds on. Okay, so that's settled. Now let's look at the damage. If I have $10,000 cash in my SRS account, I was a good girl, I put in my money in my SRS account, what am I actually losing out on if I just leave it there for the next 10 years?
So ultimately, I think inflation is probably the most serious enemy of retirement, actually.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. Let's expand on that, yeah.
Definitely. So maybe you'll think about it from a 1 year and then a 10-year perspective.
Please, yeah.
So from 1 year perspective, as I mentioned, you put in cash, you get $5 for every $10,000 you invest.
$5 cannot even buy McDonald's meal, by the way.
Yes.
Just putting it into
No,
perspective.
exactly. Inflation, it could when I was a kid, but
Exactly.
not anymore.
When we were kids, $5, like, I can buy 2 people's meals. No, not anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, so inflation, yes.
So yeah, you only get $5 for the 10,000 you deposit into the SRS. But inflation over the last 10 years, 20 years has been around 2% in Singapore. Of course, sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 6%, but it does fluctuate. But 2% is average. That's $200 out of 10,000. So essentially, you're kind of losing $195 each.
Precisely.
Each year.
So you should think of your SRS account as minus 195.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of eaten away almost all of your tax savings if you just leave it there. So what I would kind of say instead is if you actually invested that in a broad-based equity index, maybe the S&P 500, you would have gotten an average return in the last 10 years of 12% each year.
Okay.
So 10,000 in 10 years later would roughly be around $30,000.
Wow, that's quite generous. And think about it, that's $30,000 extra on top of whatever you're doing for your retirement savings that you can sort of tap on anytime, right? I mean, the cost of living and the cost of healthcare is going to go up in Singapore and around the world. So you'll need that extra cash. So for those of us now realizing that we need to do something with our SRS monies, what's the hierarchy of options for investing? So you talked about Singapore equities and bonds. You talked about broad-based ETFs as well. In what particular order would you say makes the most sense when it comes to our SRS fund investing?
Got it. So I think the biggest thing would be your time horizon.
Yep.
So let's say if you're in your 50s or 60s, you're almost at that retirement age. You want to be a bit more conservative. I think definitely a portfolio weighted towards more bonds, Singapore saving bonds, T-bills, cash management, stuff like that makes more sense.
Okay.
However, if you're younger, you're 30, 40, again, the money you're putting into the SRS is not really, you shouldn't plan to take it out before the retirement age. So you have a time horizon, you're almost forced to keep it there for 20, 30 years, right? And so once you have that long time horizon, in general, equity weighted portfolio does tend to perform well over those time horizons. And so I would say if you're, again, have that 20, 30 year horizon, putting majority or even all of it in equities would make sense. However, if you're approaching that retirement age, you want to make sure you already planned out your retirement, how much you need to live the best life you want, then you should, maybe move towards something a bit more conservative.
So you really need to see where in your life you are, your life cycle you are, and how comfortable financially you are as well, right? How do you budget then to how much to set aside to put in an SRS account? Because here's the thing, the first time I learned about an SRS account, I opened it, I was like, yay! And then I found my platform, yay! And then I got my bonus money and then I was like, I can put up to 15,300, easy peasy. I put quite a substantial amount in there, I won't say how much. And then I completely forgot that it was not very liquid, or rather, if you take it out, you have to pay a penalty. So then I was left with not a lot of cash left behind, so to speak. So I felt like I could have budgeted better when it came to when it came to deciding and calculating how much money to put in an SRS account. So what's your advice?
Got it. So I think the keyword you really talked about was budget. So just having a kind of a financial plan over what your big expenses will be over the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe you want to get a new house, a new car, and so making sure that those funds are very liquid and definitely not in SRS.
Yeah.
So especially if you have like commitments and mortgage, these sort of things, they should be in very low risk money market funds or bonds. And then anything extra that you're kind of treating as something you're saving towards the long term, those you can definitely put into SRS or general equities. Again, the advantage of doing SRS is that you save the taxes today, and the taxes can also be invested to compound. That you save can be invested to compound. So I think that's a big one. With regards to kind of how much to put in, again, I think it depends on your financial plan and your liquidity needs. It also depends a little bit on your current salary, which also impacts the that liquidity as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you're earning huge amounts of money, you don't care, you just put everything in.
Yeah.
If you have a bit of cash flow constraints, I think there are two things. One is the cash flow side. Of course, again, you don't want to need to withdraw from the SRS.
Yeah. Don't do an oopsie like I did.
Yeah, and the second one is also just that you don't get taxed so much, right? If you're not earning as much, even your marginal tax might be 5, 6, 7%.
Yeah.
At that point, you could argue it's not worth the restrictions that SRS has. But once you're earning, I'd say, you're paying a marginal tax of anything above, I'd say 10%.
Okay.
Definitely makes sense to put into SRS.
Yeah, that's a good gauge, and I'm glad you put a number on it, because then it gives us an idea of what's viable. So it's the start of the year, 2026, new year, new me, and all that. And everyone's obviously thinking about the kinds of money goals to set, save more, spend less, that sort of thing. For the person for the Singaporean or the PR or even the foreigner who's thinking, okay, this year is going to be the year of the SRS and they're going to set up the SRS account and all that. What's one mindset shift you hope people will have when it comes to their SRS funds, when it comes to also making sure that it funnels to our retirement?
I think just having that very long-term view and being very intentional about what you're saving towards. So like for me, I have a dream retirement life in my head.
Do you? Okay, what is it?
So I think there are two ideas. One which has been approved by my wife as well.
Oh, congratulations.
So, yeah, the first
happy
one.
Wife, happy life, they say.
100%. That's probably the most important advice you can take away from this.
Precisely. Okay, so what's the approved plan?
So we have two options, two scenarios. One is, of course, retiring in Singapore, kids and having a nice house and everything.
Right.
The other one, a bit more adventurous, is to retire in a little farm somewhere in
that's
Europe.
my dream.
Yeah, and so I think just having that idea and also just maybe also planning towards that. So having a rough idea in mind of what number you need in order to sustain that life would be key. And so once you have that number, then you start working backwards, right? You say, okay, well, how much do I need to actually put aside each year? Of course, again, if this is really a retirement plan, I would say it's almost it just makes a lot of sense just to use the SRS for achieving this goal, because again, with the tax savings and the psychology of you having to actually keep it there, it's actually a very effective instrument in terms of making sure you can reach that retirement goal and live that retirement life.
That's right. And correct me if I'm wrong, the deadline to top up your SRS account before you get calculated for the taxes that you save or need to pay is 31st December.
Yes, that's right.
So you have a year to get there. So make this your 2026 resolution.
Typically, actually see most of the deposits actually happen in December and January. So they are the last minute guys, and then they are the people who just kind of do it the moment that they can do it again.
So I saw that the deadline was 31st December, and I only found out about this on the 28th of December. It takes 2 to 4 business days, by the way, for that money to be put into your investments according to what you've arranged on your platform. So bear that in mind. Do it. Please don't do it the week of New Year's. Do it 2 weeks before. Do it like as a Christmas present to yourself.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Add one thing as well.
Please,
so
yeah.
100%. So sometimes there's a bit of lag in between. The banks take a bit of time to transfer. However, you can deposit it on the 28th, 29th. Just don't do it the day before, because sometimes the bank transfers take a bit of time.
Yeah.
And you can just keep it there before you make an investment decision. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
All you just need to do is top up the account.
Yeah, top up, but don't forget, because again, you're stuck with the 0.05%. But if you need to, you can always leave it there. You can put it in a money market fund or something very safe as you're kind of deciding what to do with it and what to invest with it next.
That's right.
So they're always like steps, right? So for us, we always say just deposit first. Don't forget, meet the deadline. Next step is, if you're still undecided, you might want to, let's say, dollar cost average. You can just put it in a money market, all of it in a money market fund straight away. Earn that 2%, 3%, and then decide what to do with it next.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from my conversation with you today, Jeremy, is beat inflation and have a long-term view. Don't just think about parking the money in your SRS account. Do something with it. Make it work for you. It's going to be a retirement fund. Jeremy, it was a pleasure having you here on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
We've talked a lot about the cost of doing nothing. So I have a challenge for you. Open your SRS portal today. Look at the interest that you have earned last year, 2025, okay? If you are planning to move that money into the market this month, what's your first move going to be? I'm curious, because I'm looking for ideas myself. Let us know by commenting wherever you're listening from, or you can write to us directly at cnapodcasts@mediacorp.com.sg. I'm Andrea Heng, signing off for the Money Talks podcast.